This episode of Keeping Tabs is brought to you by Doot Loot, your one-stop shop for Japanese and Russian foils. If you spend $100 or more, you'll earn free entry into our online cEDH league this month. So don't miss out and upgrade your deck's bling today. Hey friend, listen, I know the world is scary right now, but it's going to get way worse.
It's going to get so much worse. It's only October.
Yeah, all this talk about bans and changing our format and all that stuff, I don't have a good feeling about it. There's been a lot of conversations going on and stuff, but we'll get into all that. Welcome to Keeping Tabs on cEDH for October,
22nd, I think, right?
October 23rd.
Really?
It will be the 23rd, 2025. I'm Logan, joined
Jordan,
by
good to see you again.
Jordan, and I think Emily's in the producer seat.
It's true. I am here. The disembodied voice directing.
People really liked the disembodied voices last week, so I think it's a good thing to have around.
Yeah. We had a good week. We had a lot of cool videos come out and stuff. We wanted to share some with you if you haven't seen yet. I was on the Distraction Makers, which I think is just absolutely awesome. We love those guys. If you don't know, Forrest Emmel is the artist for Dockside and Seedborn Muse and all kinds of really cool cards and some new cards from Spider-Man and stuff. And Gavin is a game designer. Actually, I think they're both game designers technically, but they run a really cool channel called Distraction Makers. They talk about a lot of game systems, game theory, and magic, and occasionally cEDH. But I had some, the last time I talked about cEDH, I was like, hey, I'd love to clarify some of this stuff and talk to you about it. But
Do you feel like going on the show you were able to convey the points? Did the conversation go where you wanted it to go about the format?
Overall, yeah, I think it was a really good conversation, and those guys are really interesting. They're the same people they are off camera that they are on camera. But the edit of the video, I think, especially to people that are not keyed in with cEDH, made it feel a little strange. But I think overall the video was good. And then we really got into the weeds, off what was edited out and stuff. But I think that was a level of conversation that probably wasn't fit for the video. So it made sense to me why it didn't quite make it. Maybe it'll make it to their Patreon or somewhere else, and I think that probably makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I know there was because I went and watched the video. I had told this to you, but one of my best friends' primary source of Magic content or channel they love is Distraction Maker. So when I had mentioned to him that you would be going to be on the show, tremendously excited. I think it's super cool. I didn't know that he was also an artist for cards.
Yeah,
it's very sad.
He has a really cool art project going on right now. You can kind of see the t-shirt there, but it's called Void Monster, and they do drops of different art. So he'll, right now I think they have an Eldrazi drop going on.
Sick.
Where they have deck boxes and play mats
and
t-shirts and stuff. But it's all kind of independent, and he's doing it on his own, which is really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Wanted to shout that out. But yeah, if you're interested at all in kind of what these conversations look like, translating cEDH to people that don't play and that sort of thing, those conversations I think are really, really hard to have, but they're absolutely necessary. Especially as we just try to pull more people into the format. I think it's the format's growing, but we also want to keep that healthy, normal growth pattern and stuff. So these conversations, like I said, I think they're hard to have, but it's interesting.
What do you find difficult about them? I know they had brought up collusion and cheating and some of these other aspects that get swept under the rug. But for you as the person kind of trying to be an advocate for the format, what do you find challenging to talk about? So
those particular, you might watch that video and be like, oh well, Logan's dodging the collusion and question. That's not the case. I actually elaborated on a lot of that quite a bit, but I just think it didn't make the cut, and that's fine. What I find challenging is that when I'm playing games, I don't really think about game systems, and I don't really think about oh well, what does this mean for a new player, or how can I relate this? And right now I'm in tournament mode. I'm I need to practice and play and all that sort of stuff. I think that expanding your viewpoint overall helps you get to that point where you're okay, maybe I can see these things from different angles, and maybe that would help make me look at it a different way and find a different avenue to like look at things and evaluate things. But I don't know. I've never really been in like a teaching position before.
Sure.
I'm a good technical writer, but that doesn't really teach.
Yeah. I mean, in a certain sense it can, right? Like in my real life, documentation is where I find most of the answers for things. So being able to trace that back in like a clearly articulated way is helpful. But I don't know, I didn't find that you dodged the collusion question so much, but like I put this in the comments section of that video, like I am...
Sorry if you hear Calvin in the background. I think he's just waking up.
I'm like not sitting down thinking about colluding with you guys, because if I'm sitting down with like you, Jason, Austin, Eric, anyone, like you're respectfully the people I want to beat the most.
Exactly, yeah, I feel the exact same way.
Yeah, it's like I don't, even if it's the win and in situation, like I want that win and in to happen of its own accord. And if it doesn't go to one of us because someone else actually was supposed to win that game, then okay.
Right.
But I don't want the team success doesn't matter more to me than winning.
Yeah,
the game for myself.
there's nothing that's like, oh well, critical EDH is ranked this high because we all won, or it doesn't work like that.
No.
All right, hold on, we're gonna check on.
No, human life does take precedent to content, contrary to.
Yeah, I know, contrary to what everyone else thinks. All right, sorry about that. We're back.
Yeah, like it's just, I think where we left off on was there's no circuit of critical EDH as a team or whatever is doing better because we're winning more. So we're not going to collude to get that to happen. And like we're the redheaded stepchild of a format anyway. Like there's not extra credibility to be gained from that in my eyes, at least.
I don't think so. And I don't think that's what any of us want either. It's like we want to win on our own accord, want to do it our way, and you know, sometimes Jason's in my way and like I have to stop him. There's
for sure.
Not really much I can do about it, but collusion's an interesting thing. I think that a lot of casual players talk about it a lot because they see a lot of these play patterns more at casual tables where like there's really no penalty for doing so, but it's a pretty serious thing if you get found to be like colluding in cEDH. You can get DQ'd, you can get banned from a tournament depending on how severe it is. So I think that like it is a holdover from casual, like moving into the space. And I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, there was actually a player at our 1K on Sunday who was like not new to Magic but newer to cEDH, and it was their first time in a tournament setting, especially with like actual prizing. And it was that game I was talking to you about with Sterling, where there's 3 Ranger captains, there's been 4 silences, nobody's winning this game. Right. And this player is kind of like running up against the wall of like, but why can't somebody win this game? Like, why is there not going to be an opportunity to present a win? And it's like, okay, because it's not collusion, but like, we will force this to happen.
There's a difference between collusion and collaboration.
Yeah, for sure.
Players can collaborate during the game to force certain game outcomes. They can't use things outside the game to influence those outcomes. You can't offer anything outside the game. You can't say like, well, if you do this, I'll give you $100, or at its base level, you can't do stuff like that. But I think as a new player, it's hard to wrap your head around. Like, I don't understand why like no one can win. Like, I have the tools in my deck to win. Right. Can you explain to me like why I'm not going to be able to? It's like, well, because somebody else is going to try to put a win on the stack, and like I'll protect it. And people don't like hearing that, but it's something that happens all the time.
100%. Yeah, I had a Mayhem Devil on board, and it's like there's 8 treasures. Your Grand Abolisher will die. Yeah. Like, and he was like wanting to swords my Mayhem Devil. I'm like, okay, then I just don't kill the Grand Abolisher, and then we lose.
Was it their turn with the Abolisher, or was
it was the next turns with the Abolisher? Yeah. It's like, I'll swords your Mayhem Devil, and you have to kill the Abolisher, because then we lose. I'm like, if you swords my Mayhem Devil, I'm not doing anything. Right. Because then I lose either way.
Exactly.
And they were just like, why? And it was interesting.
The answer to why is because there's good players at the table, and they're playing to their outs, and if you can avoid losing at any cost, that moves the needle towards drawing. Yep. And then obviously if you can win, that's preferable, but sometimes it just doesn't get there. The board is too complicated, or the stack is too much to resolve in any meaningful manner or things like that.
Yeah, and I actually think that's like one of the best parts about playing the format. Like we talk about the deep waters of Denver all the time, and I think that's like the most fun way to play.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, we'll talk about the bans and all that stuff, or the discussion around bans later.
Right.
But like I don't want to see the diminishing of the possibility of entering that space. Like that's my favorite type of game to play in.
And what's really interesting is players are so focused on the outcomes of whether they win, lose, or draw. You're missing the journey of the complex things that you have to do in order to get to any of those outcomes. And sure, drawing is hard, or drawing isn't hard, but like drawing is not ideal, but sometimes just drawing the game when you're like losing, that's a hill that like is very hard to get over, right?
Yeah.
So I think a good example for me was last weekend. I mulled to 2 in game 1 of a tournament, and I was in seat 3, and I was lucky to like draw that game.
Yeah.
Right? But I felt even luckier to like put a win on the stack,
Yeah,
which was
right?
really cool.
Yeah.
But I was just so thankful that I was able to do either one or both of those things, that like I didn't really get caught up with, oh, I drew that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like playing to the highest level you can, if you know that's what you did at the end of that game, whether you win, lost, or draw, like I'm never upset about those games.
Yeah.
It's the misplays, it's the finding the line after the fact, it's right, like it's all of that stuff that feels
It's
bad.
like the personal growth and development
Yeah.
that is like, if I'm standing in my own way of that stuff, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's really rough. But that's a me problem. That's not a
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I think we talked enough about
Yeah.
our tangent on the Distraction Makers video.
And if you weren't sick already of seeing Logan's face, he was on Winning In.
Yeah. I was also on Max P's podcast. That was a really fun appearance. And you can see Calvin. Calvin's there.
Yeah.
I mean, Max P is just such a great guy, and he's really, I mean, he is a pillar of the cEDH community. I look to him for a lot of experience and wisdom in a lot of ways. But we talked a little bit about switching to farm and what that experience was like for both of us, and how we're having a lot of shared experiences, but also some different ones.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually didn't know that Max had switched to farm, because I've only ever played with him in the league when he was on TNT, Florian, or Goblin.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to hear, like, having not real, like I played your farm list, but having never played TNT, that feels like a huge gap to jump from what feels like a inevitability, high-end, like late game resource deck versus I'm just gonna win.
Yeah. And farm isn't always like that. It kind of depends on the build, but I think right now it's most benefited by just being able to be proactive and push through early and fast wins, and have the backups of silence effects and treasure generation for resources and stuff like that. It just feels really good, and I don't think anyone will argue with me on that point. It's the best deck in the format, but I don't think it's like far and away the best deck in the format. It just is consistent. It does everything well.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about this a couple days ago. It's like maybe it's 10% better.
Yeah.
Right? And like that 10% is a big difference, but it's not, at least in my eyes, it's not to the level of like VV Cauldron and Standard. It's like you have to play that, or that's what you have.
Right. And then that's like turn order simulator.
Yeah.
And that's, do you get bricked on mana, or there's so many different problems with that in Standard, where we have our own problems, and some of them are seed order, some of them are card pool related. There's all kinds of interesting things that face us and that are challenges for us, but it's a lot easier to make those things disappear if you play a good deck. Play good cards.
Was this the first time that you like had 2 back-to-back appearances, or even like, I don't know if appearance is the right thing to call it, but
Yeah,
like, are you looking to do more of that kind of stuff?
I don't think I'm very interesting. So I don't know that other people agree with that. I don't know. I enjoyed both of those appearances because I felt like I had something to offer.
Yeah.
And sometimes if people wanted to invite me on or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Is it something I can contribute to? Do we have anything interesting to talk about? That's more of the things I'm like worried about. Just having like, I think these came out on the same day, which was kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
they weren't filmed on the same day.
Right.
So I I didn't know that they were coming out. But we have all kinds of content coming up with other people, other channels.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned last week because it had just come out, but like the Eric's interview with Pontus was awesome.
Yeah.
As like someone who plays that deck, I got a tremendous amount out of that, and like actually convinced me to put certain cards back in that I had cut. Hearing him talk about it, so that was cool.
What are you looking for?
I'm just gonna pull it up.
Well, go to our channel. You'll find an interview with Pontus.
It's great.
It says subscribe to the Win In podcast. I'm not logged into YouTube, or at least not on my normal account.
Max is about to put you on blast publicly for this.
Yeah. No, I mean Max is great, and I love doing interviews, and I feel like bridging the gap between different communities, because not everyone in the Win and In community or people that watch that content watch our content, or they play in our league or whatever. I like bridging, those two things together.
Yeah, I have gotten to play several games in the league last night and today that were people's first game in the league, and it was either directly from Distraction Makers or like some other source of content, and that was super cool.
I wish I had the time right now, but I think we're all kind of in prep mode for Fishbowl and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. Losses in league continue until morale improves for me.
The league is a tough place. It's definitely different than tournaments. Although we're trying to emulate tournaments and do the best we can with that, but it's a pressure cooker.
100%, and it's a different experience playing without the like physical experience of being in a room with people. Like that's a fundamentally different, for me at least, like way of playing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think I do better in a physical environment. Maybe I'm just coping on my league record, but
I mean, I think I do too, but there's really no other better way to get practice.
No.
So it's kind of like, oh well, it's
totally.
I still have a good time playing league games, and it's fun. It is just a different experience.
It is, and one thing I wanted to mention too is like, I think at least for me, like I got into this format off of Spike Feeders and Play to Win, and like I had a bunch of weird beliefs about cEDH. I came from the like, I'm at Friday Night Magic and someone did something kind of strong, and they're like, oh no, it's a cEDH deck at our public table or whatever.
I mean, just to relate to you, I also watched a shit ton of Spike Feeders and Play to Win. I still watched a lot of Play to Win, but I mean, I started the same way. So,
and I think like the more we can have opportunities like this, that is both bridging that gap, right? Of like people who are coming from casual, dipping their toes into cEDH, or just people who like learning about game theory or whatever it is. Like it's going to bring more people into the format, and having progressively better frames of reference from people who are as engaged with the format as we are, I think is a really healthy thing.
I think there were a couple people this month that came to either me directly or just kind of in the server said like, hey, I'm kind of like nervous about playing online or just playing with people I don't know, and like this whole thing seems intimidating. And I was like, look, I think you just have to do it, and like it's a good time. And if you have a bad time, like tell me you're having a bad time. Tell me why you had a bad time. I will do my best to either guide you and try to help you through that, or if it is like somebody else is acting up or there's some issue that happened, like I'll do my best to take care of it. And I think that all those people came back and were like, I'm so glad you pushed me to do it, because like I'm having a blast, and it's a really good way for me to like use my my hobby time and my free time and stuff. And so that was really cool. I love getting that like feedback and introducing players to new experiences, new formats and stuff. And then also like if you're just not ready for that yet, or if you want to sort of see what cEDH is like in not a like show manner where you're not watching Play to Win, you're not watching Spike Feeders where it's all produced and stuff like that, just hop in our Discord and go watch games that are playing. Like you don't need to talk, you don't need to do anything, but everyone's streaming, so just go and watch a game. Like if you're on your lunch break or something like that, that's the way to figure out like, okay, what are tournaments like? What are high level games like?
Yeah, and it's functionally equivalent to like if you got to go watch like the 90s Bowls play. It's like you can join any room at any time, and it's like 3 of the 4 top 100 players in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's absolutely insane. It's one of the things that really sold me on the league and like Critical Period. Actually, the first league game I ever won, you were in,
Okay.
And
I don't remember this. I have a terrible memory. I think I've talked about this on the
Yeah.
show. I have a terrible memory for specific things.
Yeah.
I remember how things made me feel.
Yeah.
But go on, please tell me.
No, it's better that you don't remember.
Okay.
Actually.
Sure.
But it was this absolute abomination of a breach line out of like a Broodlord start. I was still
Okay.
playing Kefka. It was really gross.
Okay.
And I apologized for taking so long. And you, like in the middle of the game, you're like, why would you apologize right now? Like, there's nothing to say sorry for.
Yeah.
And that, like, both the learning experience of nobody would let me have the out of like, okay, I have brain freeze in my hand. Is that good enough? And everyone was like, no. Like, you have to play it out.
Yeah, it's like, then what?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I don't know. But having that like forced experience of like, no, I have to play this out and I have to get it right, or I'm going to lose to players who like are playing to the only out they have left, which is I screw up.
Right.
But then the aftermath of that being like, dude, you were fine, and that's what we're here to do, and it's like it's all good. Like, that's the experience people are going to have in the league.
That, and I love those like decompressing after the game happens and players hang around and talk about like, oh, I messed this line up, or I didn't see you had that much mana open, and I didn't think you had a counterspell, or just the post-game conversation is really cool, and I don't think you really have time for that in tournaments a lot of the time.
No.
Especially in like we're going to Fishbowl. I can't imagine sitting down with our pod after we finish and being like, all right guys, let's talk about what happened.
Sure.
Like, that's not how it works in person. So I think there's a little bit more freedom and space to do that in the league, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and I know even like Max P has done this a few times, Hire's done this a few times of like, let's do open hand stuff. It doesn't have to be a league game. Let's just get people in a room and talk through what we would do.
Yep.
And that's also super helpful. But yeah, like even at Fishbowl, even if you could have that experience, I don't
know that I want to.
I don't want to like waste my brain power, I guess, for lack of a better way of describing it, on like rehashing what just happened when I have 6 more rounds of Swiss to try to get through.
Especially I'm in like in an auditorium or something. Like, I'd rather do it from the comfort of my own home and kind
Absolutely.
of, yeah. So, all that to say, I had a really good time on the Win and In podcast with Max. Hopefully, hopefully it was a good experience for him, and he'll have me on again, or maybe one of us on again.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You go to the next one. Mr. Calvin, can you go to the next one?
Yeah, you won't be feeling like a fish out of water for too long in the league. Oh,
But
Fishbowl 6. So that's coming up this weekend, and all 5 of us, minus Emily, are going.
yeah, and it just hit Diamond yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
What is that, 260?
It's 250 or 260, somewhere in there. Yeah,
That's
caps 300, something like that.
a crazy amount of people.
Oh, we will be watching from the comfort of our couch.
It's being streamed, right? YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is it?
I don't know the details, but as soon as we find out the details for where it's going to be streamed, we'll post it in the YouTube comments or in the description. But we're super excited. It's run by Hire, and he just puts on a good event every single time, from what I've heard. We've been to Eric and I were at Fishbowl 5, and that was really fun. But that feels like I was a totally different person then. Like, we had just started the channel, we just started our shitty camera and mic setups, and we were interviewing like That's a Good Card like on a couch. And we're like interviewing Zach Adler, no idea who he was. I mean, to be honest, like not that he wasn't no one, but like he was not like a cEDH champion at that point, right? So
The intros were still plentiful.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, we had good intros. Fishbowl was a really cool experience for us, but we're excited to just like return and bring back the rest of the crew.
100%. What did you play at Fishbowl? Was that Glarb still?
I played Glarb, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I did okay.
Yeah.
Like, I was, I think, 59th or something, or 39th, or
Yeah, it's not bad.
didn't make top cut, but did okay.
What, like, going into this, so this first big tournament for you after the Invitational, like, what are the biggest differences in how you've prepped for this or thought about this tournament, if anything?
I've taken, since the Invitational, I've counted that as tournament prep. I have stopped playing anything else. I've been just playing farm. And that goes for like our local tournaments and stuff like that. But I'll occasionally play like my other decks that I have. I still have Glarb together. I still have Wrong Side together. Those are decks I play for fun. But at this point in my like career, I don't think they're really teaching me anything. And I want to be either challenged by the deck or be playing the best deck, that I can. And just trying to play to all of my outs in tournaments. I think it's really hard. Like I'm focusing on a different skill set than what I was focusing on before, because at last Fishbowl and even Snowy Summit, I felt like I was still trying to like get my legs under me as a player. And yeah.
Well, and those are both like much more control-oriented lists than like almost the opposite end of the extreme now, where you're playing the most proactive version of farm that you can, really.
Yeah, I had the excuse before of, well, if I lost a game, then like I just didn't have enough counter spells, or I didn't have the right counter spell at the time for the situation. Like, oh, that's why I lost. But now it's not that. It's either because I misplayed, or I missed a window, or I didn't read the table correctly. And those are things that are harder to like kind of put a finger on.
Sure.
So I'm not really leaving myself any excuses anymore.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. It's hard.
For
a
sure.
lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely it is. It's. I was talking to, kind of like you had done for Snowy Summit, I had done a couple sessions with Comedian, and he's like, if you go watch a recap of the big tournaments and you like watch player interviews, almost every single time, it's the player expressing what the other players did that caused them to lose the game.
Yeah.
And it's like that ability to look at like, no, these are the things that I did wrong that caused me to lose that game.
Right.
Or that I didn't see, or whatever. Like, it's that next level of looking at yourself to see where your improvements lie still. Because they're always there.
I like to think of it as playing selfish, because like no one can stop me except for myself, really. And if I draw the right cards or I don't, that's because my deck is constructed in a certain way, and that's my decision. No one else is really stopping me unless they windfall me or something. But even then, like, my deck should be good enough where it doesn't matter. And I don't like putting those externalities on other people. And I think there was a time where every player will go through this, and sometimes you'll get stuck in that rut of pointing the finger at somebody else and saying, you're the reason why I'm not succeeding. But I think you'll find that if you play enough tournaments, you play enough games, you're not going to run into the same players every single time. Like, you can't just constantly point the finger at somebody else when really it's like, maybe you should look at yourself and see what you can change.
Absolutely, yeah. That's actually one of my favorite things about playing Tim Nadargo. I'm having kind of the same experience of like, going from wrong side of that is you have pretty much every castable interactive spell you could have to, I have a Pyroblast. And, and 2 silences.
And you're like, how can I very effectively use this Pyroblast? How is this Pyroblast worth 3 Pyroblasts?
Yeah, exactly. How do I not die right now?
Exactly.
Or like whatever it is, it's a deck that I consistently feel like I'm failing rather than the deck is failing me, which is a fun place to be.
That is a good spot to be in.
And there are like, I don't know, the level of kind of the decision trees and everything else that has been great. I want to give a shout out to, I think it's JB Garner. He was just on Zach's podcast recently. But he's a math teacher, I think, who has done like all of the hypergeometric calculations for Tim Nadargo. And has been like pioneering a lot of stuff and been really helpful in the Discord. So I'm really excited to bring the deck and see how it plays. And he's he's local to that meta and is pretty firmly of the belief that it's positioned well for SoCal's meta right now. Whether or not that translates to all of Fishbowl or not, I don't know, but we'll see.
I like the deck overall, but the biggest irk for me is not the fact that it doesn't have blue. It's the biggest irk for me is the lack of flash, reliable flash.
Absolutely.
And I know that you guys have E-Zone, but like
I don't even run it. I don't run E-Zone.
But I'm just saying as far as options, right? And I would find that hard to take to a tournament because of that. I think that's one thing that's kind of like keeping me off of it.
It's hard. It's when you get to the point of like, here's my Grand Abolisher. Oh, there's a Born still. It's like, you can't do anything about this.
I hope I have Red Blast for the Born. If not, then like, all right, I guess.
I guess I just lose here.
Right.
But it's like, it reminds me of like the old commercials. I think it was for Windex of like the dog slamming into the really clean glass door. Like that's how I feel a lot of the time, where I'm like, oh, it's wide open. And it's not. But I like that about it because it's like, oh, I am still misreading the situation. That is something that I can get better at.
Right.
And that's something I'm really enjoying right now.
You can still do all these things in
For
other
sure.
decks, though.
For sure. Yes, absolutely.
Jordan and I were talking right before we started recording, and he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be on like Tim the Dargo forever. He's like, I might be on Farm sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this after not this most recent 1K, but the one before. I was really frustrated, and it was just that, like, there will come a point, I think, where I need to choose to not, if I care more about winning, I need to accept that my fate is to play a deck that enables that to the highest degree. Yeah,
you mentioned that like Joking 101 video about tournament cEDH and how to win a tournament. We've talked about that so many times on this channel, and if you're an old head of critical EDH, you're gonna be like, ugh, here they are talking about this fucking video again. But it's, are you choosing to attempt to win, or are you choosing to make a point? And I think both things are totally valid. I think most people will say that you can do either. But if we look at, not to call out anyone in particular, but I think like Kellen is a good example. We love Kellen. Kellen's a fantastic pilot. But I think at the time that he had played it at the Land Go Open, he was playing Tim the Dargo, I think he was trying to make a point, like prove a point. And that's totally fine, but he won, right? So that's still 100% possible. But I think if you're playing to win, you're looking at the kind of like higher tier decks, maybe like obviously T and K, Kinnan, Chowder, Sisay, just the things that are like generically good. They don't really have bad matchups. There's, you can play them at any table and you're like, God, I'm getting cooked by this deck again. Or even Rogsai, like traditional Rogsai, kind of falls into that category.
Yeah, contrary to the absolute disrespect put on Sisay in our last video.
Yeah.
It's still a thing that can happen.
I don't think the commander does anything, but
it's 5-color good stuff. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think this is your first like really big tournament, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest one I've done was 36 people. It was one of the level 7s. But yeah, first really big one. And I'm going into it with the attitude, if I get 2 wins, I'm going to be happy. And I know after the fact, if I only get 2 wins, I'm going to be unhappy. But I'm going to remember that that's what I said and like take myself back to that point.
Set realistic goals for yourself.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm not even worried about wins right now. I want to sequence correctly, and that's usually where I start. And then if the wins start coming, then it's like, okay, well, now I'm like more in the flow of things. And if I win a game or 2, then it's going to start looking like, how many games do I need to win to get to top 16? Yeah. I'm not even worried about my placement in top 16. I'm just like, I need to get there. Once I get there, then I'm like, okay, how do I get my ass out of top 16 and top 4?
Absolutely.
This is going to be the biggest tournament I've been to since the last Fishbowl 5. If you count the Invitational, that feels like a different kind of experience. You're jammed into a top 65, 64 players, whatever you want to call it. And that's, gosh, like every game is top 16, right?
Yeah.
So that was a whole experience on its own. But as far as like number of players, this is gonna be the biggest one since the last one.
What changes the most for you if you're just playing in like a weekly local versus a 300-person diamond event?
I just don't know the players, right? So like there's a way I can phrase this in which it sounds really bad, because I'm going to sound like I'm taking advantage of players that I know here, right? Because we play with the same 45 to 60 players, right? Every time. But you learn players. Like you learn what decks they play. You learn their play patterns. You learn where they're weak at certain things. And I think that if you're an enterprising player, you will learn those things, right? If you're playing in the local scene. But when you're traveling to a larger tournament, there's either players that you completely don't know at all, and it's just kind of a crapshoot, and then like trying to establish some sort of trust or modicum of like, conversation back and forth on like, hey, I'm really trying to like not screw you over here, like we need to not die to this other player. That's hard. And then also maybe you're facing a player that you've heard about, and you're like, damn, this player has like a reputation. I know they're a top player, but I've never played with them. I've never played against them. A good example for this, for me, shout out to Anthony, Glacial City. First Fishbowl, we sat or for last fishbowl, let's put it that way. Last fishbowl, I think it was like round 2 or something. We sat across the table from each other, and it was very clear, very quickly, that like we both knew that each other were like good players, and we started talking in a way where we didn't even really have to talk about what the other players were doing. We would just kind of like look and be like I can't do that right now, and he's like, okay, like you know what I mean. And while he ended up winning that game, it didn't matter because on that level I was like, okay, like we kind of connected and made that. At the time, it was just like, you know, in-game connection.
Sure.
But I've seen him at other tournaments since then, and we've always hung out, and it was, you know, a good experience. But I think being able to do that is something it's really hard, and it's just overwhelming. And you look at the tables, you're sitting at a table, and there's 60 people to your left and 60 people to your right, and you're like, dude, there's just so much noise, and it's a wild experience.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I might try the headphone in one ear thing for that reason. Like it's a lot. Do you like is it a sit down and do you try to use the pre-game conversation to get an assessment of people, or are you more just like, I'm here to play and I'm gonna like figure this out as the game starts to unfold?
I try not to like prod people with like conversation. I'll use more subtle clues about like, you know, is their playmat clean? Are they like, how are they? I mean, it sounds stupid, but like, I mean, like, how are they presenting themselves, right? Are they presenting themselves as a player that plays cEDH a lot? Or is their deck triple sleeved? Is there? It's just like all like little things that kind of put together a person, and you can kind of like figure out like, okay, what's this person about? Like, what's this player about? But you can also tell by like if they start talking and you're like, oh, they're pretty savvy. That you know, or they say something like, oh, he's just jamming a Thassa's Oracle, and like they don't have any blue mana, and you're like, do you know what you're talking about? Like, you just kind of use context clues, I think. Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I love it. I live for these experiences. I think they're really cool. Tournaments are like nothing else. You can't get the experience in the league no matter how hard we try. And we're just excited for Fishbowl. I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah, this is going to be the biggest event since I did a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament when I was like 9. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I was like a super big grinder at the time at the ripe old age of 9 years old. Wow. When like my parents would come to the game store and like stand over my shoulder because I'm playing with like a group of 40-year-olds or whatever. I had a pretty similar experience. Yeah. It was a little, in hindsight, you know, weird, but I got dunked on at this tournament. Wow. And it was, you know, whatever, best 2 out of 3. And I think it was actually single elimination for that best 2 out of 3. Like there's not a concept of Swiss or whatever. So we showed up, I got dunked on, and then I left. And that was the last time I had a like very large tournament experience. So. My parents, I don't know how I got into Magic. I'm pretty sure it's just because I hung out with kids older than me. When I was like, I don't know, 13 to 15 or something like that. I was playing Mirrodin and Kamigawa blocks. But we would play draft and stuff, and my parents would go to the game store with me. They'd like hang out, kind of watch me draft. And then they figured out that like, there's like old nerds there, but like they're harmless. And so they just started leaving my asses at the game store. So they would just drop me off and be like, okay, we're gonna go like get dinner or whatever. Like just give me McDonald's or something like while you're out. That's awesome. But yeah, I did that for a while, and then like we moved, and I just stopped, and then I picked up cEDH or Magic, and then cEDH a couple years ago. But yeah, it was the same. I didn't play any games after that Yu-Gi-Oh experience up until friends got into Casual Commander, and then one thing led to another, and now here we are. So you talked about like what, you were asking me about like my experiences at larger tournaments and stuff. What, you haven't been to one. You've been to like our locals so many times and stuff. What are you concerned about? Like what is on your mind when you're thinking about these bigger events? That's a good question. I think I was just telling you this before we started the podcast. I've had the first like people's interactions with me changing because it's Jordan Q -- critical EDH now. And so I'm it's weird, yeah. Yeah, there's a certain amount of like guilt by association, for lack of a better word, where I'm like,
No, you don't understand. I'm the dog water of the 5 of us.
That's
which is like,
sure.
Yeah, self-deprecation is not is a weakness of mine.
No, I'm the dog water of the 6. Don't get it twisted.
No, that is untrue. I have played with you as well. And so there's a certain aspect of that. There's the just the kind of the overstimulation of it. The 7 rounds of Swiss is almost double what I've ever done before, and just the I think something that I'm anticipating struggling with is.
Just keep in mind, it's 5 and 2. It's not 7 in one day.
Totally.
It's 5 rounds and then 2 the next day.
Which is a great break to have, but I think resetting for me, whether it's a small miss sequence or a game that didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, like having that bandwidth to walk away for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in between rounds and be like, you got to breathe, like you have another game to play.
Yep.
And I'm hopeful that that will be the experience that I'm able to have, but I also know that I don't crash out publicly, I crash out internally. And it just kind of like doom spirals.
Well, you have a team now.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah.
So like the biggest thing we were talking about team, like, the team dynamic earlier and how we're not colluders or anything like that. But like the biggest thing for having other people at the tournament with me is like I get to have guaranteed people to complain to when something goes wrong. And like commiserating with your friends is really fun. And I think that like sharing whether the stories, whether they're good or bad, is really important. And having those people you can seek out between rounds is really cool.
Well, dude, even with the league too, like I know I'm super excited to see Brian, and like he's someone who, even just out of the 5 games we've played in league and then Discord, it's like, oh, I know I'm going to be able to talk to that guy and just like have him on my side of things, and that's awesome.
I think I might have to manually do this, but I really want to calculate the percentage of people that are in the league and also in Fishbowl.
Oh yeah, it's probably high.
It's, what do you think, like 25%?
Of Fishbowl entrants are in the league.
Yeah.
I think it's higher than that.
Well, okay, so we'll talk about the league in a little bit, but we're at 520-ish players, 519 players right now.
Yeah, and I guess of 300 possible entrants.
260, 10% is 26, so 52. That seems somewhat likely. 20%.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, 25% maybe.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that's not, is not in the league, but you also know is either in that meta or is planning on attending that you're like particularly concerned about playing against, I guess?
No, I just, it's weird because like we play so often in our locals here, we get a little bit insular with our meta and the way things work out and shake out game-wise, but I think the league has kind of helped open up and expand that, so we're a little bit more keyed in, especially with the channel and stuff like that. We kind of know what's going on around, so I'm not as concerned as I was before. One of the things I was really hung up on last Fishbowl was I just did not know what deck to play. I had so many decks available to me at the time, and they had different degrees of efficacy and how good they were and stuff like that, but I just didn't know. And like the reason I played Glarb was like, well, I won a tournament on Glarb, therefore I should just bring that. And like that's probably why I did just okay at Fishbowl, because I wasn't confident in my deck choice. But now I'm not worried about that. So like I don't know what to be worried about. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Dude, you just get to show up and jam games now. That's
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see people that I don't like. I mean, like Max P is going, Gold Sabertooth is going. We're all going. Like you said, the San Diego locals, like the Crush or Brian and Zach Adler, and just I'm sure there's a million people that I'm forgetting that are going. That it's just whether we're close friends or not, it's good to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I've been hearing the cEDH summer camp.
Reference. It really is that.
Yeah,
it's cool. But I'm excited for you to experience it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. Cool. It's going to be a good time.
All right, well that's Fishbowl. It's coming up soon.
And if you guys don't make top 16, just don't bother coming home. Moving on.
Or you could just go to the hotel and play in the league. We did want to go over the league real quick. We're nearing the end of the month, and unlike last month or months prior, there's no deadline to sign up, so you can sign up all the way up to the end of the league if you want to do that. we thought it was a good change because basically, it's if you want to use it as like a trial and you can play real league games, but like you know that you're not going to be ranked or whatever. It's not an invitation for you to throw those games, but basically, if you're like, I'm not sure if this whole league thing's for me, you can try, jam a couple games at the end of the month and see if you want to start the next month off on the right foot. Yeah. But like I said earlier, we have 519 players or something ridiculous.
It's insane.
Who's that? Dave? Yeah, Dave K is just absolutely cooking people now. He's almost at 4,000 points. One of the issues that people were complaining about, especially some top players earlier this month, they were concerned that 10 games would you just win a bunch of games, then you're at 10 games, you're in top 16, and then you can sit and park on it. Sky in particular did that, and then was at 4th place, and now she is down to 14th place.
Yep.
And has not played any additional games, and still on 10 games. So we're seeing players start to overcome that, where I don't think that's really a good strategy anymore.
No, I don't. I mean, dude, when you have, I think Max is on 114 games or something.
104, yeah.
Is still in 6th place. Like, you're not going to be able to just jam 10 games and call it a day.
So the league is a really interesting place with the way the points work, and things are shifting. Every time I look at this page, it feels like the top 16 has shifted a little bit.
It's really cool to you don't ever feel like you're out of the league.
Yeah.
All it really takes is 3 or 4 wins against higher ranked players, and you're right back in the conversation of top 20, top 50, top 100. And that's really exciting. The momentum that comes with that feels really good.
Yeah. All right. Last thing about the league, we did reach our 500 player stretch goal, so we added some more prizing. I don't think it was quite what I wanted, as far as I wanted to add something else for the 500, so I'm trying to figure out what that is. And then we do have a stretch goal of 600, which doesn't seem likely we'll make this month, but we'll just carry that over to next month's prizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's enough about the league. Okay, so during the podcast, we got a call from a mysterious caller. Who is this?
What's going on? This is Gold Sabertooth. Long time fan of the channel.
Number one critter.
From upstate New York.
Oh my God. Hopefully you guys can hear this okay, but we're just talking to Tim on the phone. Tim wanted to talk about what the meta might look like at Fishbowl.
Fishbowl meta. Or when I think of the 10 decks that I feel are the most poised to...
Okay.
The 10 best... Well, the 10... most well-positioned decks heading into Fishbowl weekend, which is, this is the next in the circuit of premier cEDH events. Yeah.
Jordan and I were just talking right before you hopped on. We were talking about how the last big event that I was at was Fishbowl, of this size.
No way, yeah. Dude, it's the first time we had to hang out.
I know, and it felt like so long ago. It felt like years ago, but it was earlier this year.
Dude, it's our anniversary.
That's so cute. What'd you get me?
I got you an unban of Nadu.
Oh God, just what I wanted. How did you know?
Yeah,
Logan loves game actions.
I got him in my van and I got him to agree to.
Yeah, we were joking about if instead of charging an appearance fee to go on someone else's channel or whatever, we'll just charge a game action fee. And I was like, oh, I'm unbanning Nadu immediately.
Oh yeah, same.
All right, so off the top of your head, you have to pick out, let's say, you said 10. We'll start at 10.
10's tough.
We'll start at 10. What's a deck that's on your radar, but maybe it's not quite.
You got to be. I just think you've got to be ready for Ral. I know that's probably old news to some people, but I think whereas we've kind of determined that maybe semi-blue is a bit of an aberration, or maybe it didn't quite materialize, or maybe there's still time. But as we've seen right now, I don't feel like it has been as much as a factor or a player in the meta. It was proportioned with respect to its popularity. I do think that Ral, there's a lot of buzz about it, even when we were at Critical to the Guild last year. And we didn't see a lot of the top finishes, but now I think we do. I think the popularity, the desire was there and the enthusiasm was there, but I think the meta is in a place now
That
You know what I'm
supports
saying? Like, yeah, that supports it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's been times in my life where I felt like I had a really good deck, or it's the deck I wanted to play. I was like, ooh, this is doing something nice. And then, we talk about a deck catching a stray from a meta adjustment, where like, oh shit, like, I was thinking the last time I wanted to play Rocco, I was loving the deck, and I felt like the strategy was there. It had the pieces, but it was a time when Sisei was the top deck. So everyone was just really kind of playing like Surge Hate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was just catching.
Well, you talk about like decks that had a meta adjustment and like hated it out of the meta. I think Glarb is one of them. I mean,
Oh yeah, explain.
it's just too slow right now. It doesn't convert fast enough.
Right.
It can't control fast enough. And while there are some interesting strategies coming out with like Bolas Citadel and Protean Hulk and stuff like that, I just don't think that they convert quite fast enough for where
agree
things
with
are
you.
at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was making a joke that I've been playing lately, and the reason I would play Ral is I've been playing against one of the best turbo pilots around. I played against some of them. I played against Duke a lot lately. I played against Pontus, and I played against Michael Schmidt. And
Killers.
I was joking
They're all
that
killers.
Yeah, collectively though, irregardless of turn order, I think I've played I can say confidently with the 6 games I played with Dude, I think I have played less than 6 turns of Magic, if that's any.
What was
If that's
Jason saying
any
earlier?
indication
He
of
said
how things are going.
he played like a tournament and then he played
It's less than
65
60
minutes.
minutes, yeah, of Magic.
Who said this?
Jason. He said they played like a whole tournament and he played 65 minutes of Magic or less than.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So I feel like with I'm not too surprised to hear it. So I would say Ral right now I think everybody's correctly deduced that you want to be asking the questions instead of having the answers. And especially if there was an uptick in interest in there was the enthusiasm about Ral. There was interest in a deck I'm going to talk about soon, which is Atali. And the idea that a greedier VV deck was in the wings, and the real enthusiasm for the semi-blue decks have kind of veered people away from control Magic, and it's really just left an open lane for Turbo. And
Would you put like Terra and these other like 5-color turbo decks in that same kind of vein?
Maybe, except like I think Pontus said it best when he said that like he referred to his Splinter Leonardo deck as just like like Timu Rogsai or Rogsai Home, and I just feel like doing the 5-color Nas stuff, like and no disrespect to those decks, like I got cooked in League by a 5-color just like greedy Nas Sisei deck. Like they exist, but I think right now like what ROG can do for your mana acceleration is similar to what something like Ral can do with his like.
So you think
cost reduction
Rog
effects.
Sai is on your list too?
Oh yeah. So I'd say so far I would say Ral,
All right.
Itali, Rogsai, and Greedy VV would probably
Okay.
be on my list. And I would say that represents kind of like the turbo contingent, and then whatever other 5-color turbo, whether that is Terra, Sisei, Jensen Carthalion, or something like that.
What about you, Jordan? Do you have any sleeper picks or?
I don't think sleeper. I mean, Ral's conversion rate is like disgusting. Isn't it like 30% or something like that?
It's
Just
really
people
high.
Don't.
Is it really?
It's something really high.
And also Pigeon is playing Raw, which kind of tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that a turbo leaning or very proactive Kefka is a very strong deck.
Have you seen that? Or is it just a deck you're theorizing?
No, I have seen it. I mean, that's what I think that's what Comedian got second with, right?
Yeah,
Like
Comedian
64.
placed on that list. I think in the same vein, I think these turbo big commanders, we'll kind of like put them all into the same pot, but like we can talk about like Kefka and like Atraxa, maybe even Tivit, but like to probably a lesser extent. These commanders that have like a backup plan of
Lumra,
like if
I
your
guess.
turbo fails.
There's no backup plan to Lumra.
You had an
Right,
interesting
I know.
conversation
You were
with
listening-
Max
You were
on.
listening to NATO talk about how he was like, even before Envy, he's like was saying how Tivit felt just excellent. You know, like he was just like cooking people on Tivit pre-Envy, and he was kind of shocked at how well it was doing. And I think you and I were having a conversation, Logan, about this similar to Jordan's point. We were talking about how if I wanted to play TNT, maybe I want to play Tivit, because like there's like the tension with TNT, which is a deck I would stay away from right now. I know this is, again, I don't want anyone to be offended by what I'm saying. This is just my opinion and how I'm feeling about the meta. I just feel like there's some weird tension with TNT where it's like not as fast and its controlling elements are not as like useful.
It feels like a very mid deck, and in all of its aspects, it's just kind of like muddled the waters on like every aspect that it's trying to do, which is very strange.
Right. It doesn't. It's not really a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, or whatever they say. You know what I mean? It's like it kind of does a little bit of everything. I do like some. If it has a unique conceit, I'm more interested in it. Maybe like Corey Williams is like Shape of Water, but he's like a dedicated gifts intuition deck. But when I think about it as like, well, I mean, you've got green for mana acceleration, but your green dorks aren't really Tymna attackers. You know what I'm saying? So it has this weird identity issue. And then, so I was saying if I could make that much mana in green and I got all these black tutors, like why not just food chain Atraxa? You know what I mean? Like that to me, that seems like, the fail case of having like a big fat Kefka or Atraxa or Tivit in the zone is like a little more appealing, don't you think?
Yeah.
You know,
I think the further TNT like strays from the light of God, sort of, like it has a relatively solved identity at what it's very good at, I think, and I'm getting the sense that people are trying to make it do something it's not optimized for.
The problem, I think, is that like what it's good at is not good enough for the metas at right now.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's not really lining up, and that's why people are trying to push it in directions that might feel like a little bit unnatural for it.
Yeah.
Right, where some people are like, oh, it's a green blue farm, or some people are like, no, it's basically Rog Thrash but with black, you know, and it's just like, I actually think that like maybe if I was playing like Sans Red right now, I would want to I would feel like its best ability is mid-range, and I don't know if I want to be in mid-range.
Emily, what were you saying?
I was just thinking of a conversation that you had with Max on the Win and In podcast, where he was noting that he was seeing so much Lumra in the league. So I'm just wondering how much of the critical EDH league meta we can consider. And Lumra has seemed to like get some attention. I think like it was on Play to Win.
Yeah, we've
like I keep sending Eric like
we've
like
seen
the
so many
videos
gameplay episodes with like Lumra. It's getting all this weird attention. It's like, oh, I'm on Cocaine Bear, and I'm like, here's another link we have to send to Eric to be like, check out, somebody else is playing your list. But I think, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that like Lumra, it has almost like a defined clock. Like it really can't go faster than it does normally. And I think if there's a lot of Lumra influence, it's kind of setting the pace. And I think the best way to handle that deck is just to go faster.
Yeah, I mean, that was something I struggled with. I really wanted to make Tymna go faster than it's supposed to be for a while. And there's I think there's a threshold where that deck's board state can't hold the weight of it, if that makes sense. Like if you try to move faster than it's capable of doing, its fail state is very bad, I think. And so I'm maybe making the incorrect decision to still be on the proactive end of mid-range, but do what I think that deck is best at, which is turn 4 protected wins, and probably multiple of them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that trusting your gut on that, and just recognizing pond composition and how that's going to affect your mulligans. Like, I was like kind of being really tough on myself after playing against a couple turbo pods recently, or non-interactive pods, or really greedy pods, or parasitic pods, and feeling like, gosh, what am I doing? Like, but the truth is, like, you just don't have much agency. You really just have to. You can't have an answer to the pod sometimes. You know, like you just have to just focus on your plan and just like, yeah, if my plan is like part of me getting to my turn 3 win is playing a birds on turn 1 or a wild growth, and then I just die with my cards in my hand, like, okay, so be it. Like that just sometimes happens, you know, like. But I think this brings us to the next bucket of decks. So if we have the buckets, I would say there's these kind of turbo, the turbo decks.
We could use a more refined word. We'll call them silos.
Silos, yeah. Let's use the granaries. I would say the next corn crib we'll talk about
Jesus.
The monocolored, like kind of parasitic decks. And I would say
like Lumra, Magda.
And we saw what Savala could do.
Oh,
and
right.
That was unique because it also had it's a linear, non-interactive, monocolored deck that just hopes that somebody else has the answer to Dude's turn 1 Necro, and but it also has Brewer's Advantage. So I think that like. Being like a monocolored deck and being a deck specialist, that's the other thing I would bring. I would be on the lookout, like, respect the Magda deck or the Lumra deck or the Silvala or the Arkham Dagson. If you see it at Fishbowl.
It's like weird the pressure those decks put on the pod from a
incredible.
Like playing TNK and sitting down against those players, sometimes I'm like, oh, you've just given me free reign to do whatever I want. Other times I'm like, I don't have enough answers to deal with you like by myself. Like I need other players to help with that. And then sometimes there's not other players to help. And that's when those decks are like really, really powerful.
And I think that just like, you know, you can't have perfect meta knowledge or literacy, and it's not meta knowledge, but just like, you know, work collaboratively, rely on the players. You know, when we sat down against the Rowan deck, like we were hoping that there was someone on the deck that knew what it did, someone at the table, the pot who knew what it did when it was pushing.
Yeah.
And that just, you know, ask for a clarification, like get an oracle, you know, just take your time. Like if you really don't know what like when we were playing against the Joyride deck and Filigree Sages came down, and now I know that's the choke point, but we didn't know that. You know, we just didn't know that. So if somebody's bringing a deck like that and they're playing a card you haven't seen, they're playing it for a reason. So that's like a good 60 card Brewers heuristic.
To change
playing a card.
To change gears a little bit. You were last Fishbowl we saw Derevi win, and we've seen Thrasia's Yoshi between like then and now come up quite a bit, but I haven't really personally heard a whole lot about the deck since either one of those, really, to be honest. Do you think that we're going to see any of those back again?
I think you'll see some of it because it again, kind of like Rog Thras, it is a fan favorite, and the people who like it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I did see that Hummingbird Alters won a tournament on Dog Thras.
Wow.
So I just think people who, I think a lot, 60-plus person tournament. So a couple weeks ago. I could be wrong. Check me in chat, guys. Good for the engagement. I think I'm right, though. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that, like, again, like a Derevi player is, you know, if they're not playing Derevi, they're going to play Dog Thras or Helga or something. They're going to scratch that itch. Like, players have, like, a thing, like, you know, if there's a person like Jacob who's like a, you know, Kalia expert, he's not going to veer away from Kalia no matter what. So
no, he's trying to get that dub on Kalia.
Yeah. So I just feel like certain people are deck specialists are going to be, like, I know we're going to see some, like, Gyruda at this tournament. So I would just say, So my gut feeling about this, with terms of Dog Thras, is like, I know there's some West Coast people who have an affinity for these decks, so I do expect to see them. But my estimation of them is not what it once was. I just feel like
the pilots haven't gotten worse. Yeah, you're right. the pilots haven't gotten worse, but the texture of the games are different. The meta's changed a little bit. The decks fit differently. The puzzle piece isn't quite lining up exactly the same as it used to.
Yeah. When everyone was hoping for a certain late game inevitability, the Thrasios decks were eating good. But no one's. But now, when when there was like an inkling or a whisper that the Thrasios decks wanted to play for the late game in a greedy way without playing interaction, it kind of just like tipped the scales into a more proactive place.
All right, I'm going to hand you off to Jordan. I think we have a couple more decks to talk about, probably the top ones. Looks like we've got T&K, Kinnan, and Sisay.
Yeah. Jordan?
Yeah. So, like, going into the event, I think T&K is probably perennially best positioned. But
Why? I think it's worse. Why do you think?
oh, that's interesting. I actually want to hear your take on that.
Well, why do you think it's at its best right now?
I don't know if I would say that T&K overall is at its best, but I don't know that you can discount how powerful the deck is at its worst.
I'm not
Yeah.
discounting. But I don't think it's at its. I agree. I know what you mean, but like, I just think like T&K is always well positioned.
Yeah.
It's playing the best cards. And Breach is still. Breach is goated.
Yeah.
It's about the sun rises and sets with Breach and Necro. But I actually do think right now that I don't know. I think turn 3, turn 4 is a improved nature at the moment. I do think that there's a lot of pressure to go faster. And I've been in some pods where the Ristic player, the Ristic player is usually the T and K player, you know what I mean? And I'm willing to put them to the test. Like, I've called their bluff a couple times in a deck I feel is a lot less powerful, where I've just they tapped out for Ristic and I jammed, something that was going to proc Ristic, significantly. And I knew, I was like, all right, I got about 5 or 6 chances before I close the door for them to find one of their free pieces of interaction. And believe it or not, I actually, I'm more afraid of getting stuffed by a Rog side in that position, because their Rog turns on all their free magic. And sometimes when they tap out on turn 2 for their turn 2 Ristic, which is a great play, they don't have the mana they're just relying on their free counter spells. And at that point, they don't have their commander out. So and at that point, are they willing to just die on the, you know what I mean? On the
Die on the vine?
Pact? Yeah, exactly. It's so I'm just what do they do? I was food chaining into a Ristic, and I was letting them draw. I wasn't paying, when I could pay. And I was they have literally 5 draws to find force blue card, or I was what else beats me? I was thinking, I was Mind Break Trap? I was even a Mind Break Trap, at that point, my squeak could play around it. So I was I don't know what they're playing towards, So I actually think if I wanted to be the Necro Breach deck, I'd want to be Rog side right now. That's just how I feel. I actually would not play T&K.
Jordan, does your experience here in Denver? That's okay, Tim. We'll see what, we'll put...
No, I don't mean there's any...
Put rubber to the road and we'll see what happens.
I don't mean as a disrespect to you.
No.
I just think the deck is always good. I don't think it's at its best right now, is all I mean to say.
Well, it's part of the conversation we had was Ristic is strong, but at where the meta's at right now, it's not even close to bannable. I don't...
No, not even close.
Right, so if I have an E-tutor, I'm trying to find ways to put that into a Necro, not into a Ristic.
I agree. I think Necro and Breach are the definitely the scarier cards. Even now, I look at a card I once revered, which was Abolisher, and I'm just I don't have the time to set up this Abolisher right now. I really feel that way. I was do I have the... I don't have the time to set this up. I just gotta jam naked and just hope no one has it, and they usually don't.
So Tim, so I was going to ask Jordan about being on the receiving end of all the strong TK players that are here.
Yep.
Is that your experience, or what do you think? Because I've talked a ton about like why I'm playing it and stuff, and I think people are tired of hearing about that. But be on the receiving end.
So it's interesting. I think that Denver's meta is still slower than we're going to see at Fishbowl.
Interesting.
I think every game I've played for the last 2 weeks still saw like turn 4 to 6, with a couple of exceptions. Like
Okay.
I lost to Jason once on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when he has a turn 1 voice. I think that TNK feels very proactive right now. And it can kind of just win when it wants to. But I think part of my experience of that is a deck that like folds to a stiff breeze of a deck that wins when it wants to, right? Like anyone can go over the top of Mardu, and then that just is what it is.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do think that tapping out for a Ristic study is no longer good enough. If you can get a turn 1 study, maybe tap out on turn 2.
Yeah. You're almost guaranteed to
I
see
agree.
turn
That's
3
what
there,
I
but
feel. I don't feel like, there's a game where like I tapped out to cast a Smothering Tithe, because I was like, if I untap with the Tithe, I win. I'm obviously not in a deck that's playing interaction with my Tithe, and it didn't matter. Like I was like, I'm in a world where turn 2 Tithe is just like scoop. Like no way. I'm not saying the deck is so blistering, and this is not going to be your experience all the time. You might sit down to a pod that's like, you got a Zur and maybe an Atraxa and a blue farm, and then you're the proactive deck. But I'm just saying that like I wouldn't like overcorrect, but just like really take into like respect the decks, respect the seed order. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Sisse is going to, like, pants you on turn. It's safe to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I tap out all day against Sisse. I know Sisse's not going to proc my Ristic a lot, but I'm also not afraid to, like, tap out against Sisse on turn 2.
So
there are some decks I am afraid of doing that against.
So to take that Ristic conversation about TK and how it's, like, not good enough anymore, I think that puts a really big question mark on Kinnan. Because
I don't think it's not good enough anymore. I just don't think it's like the overwhelming heavyweight.
Right. But I mean, like if
it will be represented, but I don't think it's not like just such a dunk as it was. You get what I'm saying?
If we're talking about the like no bad cards Kinnan that Waffle runs though, like if Ristic is not what it used to be, you're not respecting it. Is that what you said?
No.
Interesting.
Dude, I actually am...
I'll eat those words. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not respecting that deck.
I'm more scared of hires right now.
Yeah.
I think...
Thankfully, he's not playing.
Is he not playing?
Well, he's a TO.
Yeah. I think that decks that...
I'm not respecting Evan. I'm not respecting his deck.
Sure.
But I think that
Nothing I'm saying is pointed at anyone. I'm just saying...
Totally.
Tim has a gun in New York and is pointed at everyone that he doesn't respect.
People like aren't used to seeing and I don't think semi-blue is good, or I'm not worried about semi-blue going into this tournament. But a deck like this weird big flips Kinnan that's just like, here's my Deadeye Navigator Peregrine Drake. Deal with it.
Yeah.
It's
That's really hard to deal with.
Yeah, people don't expect that, and Kinnan can do it much faster than a Rogthrash can.
How fast? How fast are you talking? Be real.
I mean, it's probably still like turn 4.
Turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, there you go. Like, if your deck can't, like, put, like, the crazy example Exodia by turn 4, then, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, every deck should be putting the craziest shit together by turn 4. But what I'm saying is, like, you have a plan to mulligan either to win before that or not die by that point. Yeah. Which is why I'm playing some like dumbass cards. Like I don't recommend them, but I am playing. I'm like taking my medicine. Like I'm playing Big Booty Elishnorn. I'm playing Adranith. I'm like, are these good cards? Like absolutely not. But is it like my only like we played against an Atali deck that put a turn 1 hunting Velociraptors on the stack. I was like, okay, like, we're just really dead, like everyone's like, I have nothing for that. It's like, okay, well, Atali's coming, and I don't know how he knew if it was later revealed there was a gig probe or something. But the Italian player also had like Kroger in hand, like Eldridge, like J Will, like everything. You know what I mean? Like we're just so dead. And I had to like blow my whole wad to like tutor up and cast Elishnorn, the 5-mana Mother Machines.
Yeah, no
which I think is like
it's
like a weird card, but I really just play that to not die to one of those decks. I know people don't like that. It feels like scared Angel Grace gaming, but you just gotta. It's 100 card singleton. You won't always see the cards you don't want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Are you making these kinds of adjustments like Dranith, like Elishnorn for this event? Like, are you trying to?
I live in. I don't think this meta is gonna be that much different than Cookout, but I think it will be I think it'll be a little faster than Cookout. I do.
Speaking of faster than Cookout, where's Rogthrust sitting for you right now?
That I'm really cold on. I'm ice cold on Rogthrust right now.
Yeah, I think we're feeling the same way here. It's Rizless. It's
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's a hard pass for me, dog. I'm not into that.
We've
deck.
seen the good pilots move off of it for one reason or another. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm not into it. But I'm just saying, like, what deck I would take. Again, if you are a deck specialist and this is your jam, more power to you. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's not for me. So.
All right. Any final calls for the fishbowl meta?
Like diplomatic, but like I think all this goes out the window if you're like a deck specialist. Do we all agree on that? Like if you're a deck specialist, you're a deck specialist. But I'm just saying, like, if you were a person and you're like, oh, I want to listen to this podcast to think about like what I should play. I mean, I would, if you're gonna play TNK, play like a Necro TNK over a Ristic site TNK. That's how I would put that. But that's when I say like TNK is not still the heavyweight. I mean like manual, like default setting TNK. I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like TNK out of the box. I don't think so. But something brewing. Oh yeah. Something where you're just like, you know what? The kind of TNK that you're like, oh, I wish I could play Squandered Resources. Like, if that's the kind of TNK you're playing, then I'm interested. You know?
All right, last thing I want to talk to you about, Tim. We talked about, this is going to transition us into our next topic, but we'll let you go after this. But we wanted to hear your thoughts on...
I'm just drawing, dude. I'm having a good time.
I know. We got some thoughts on seat order and seat order disparity. What are your thoughts on that, and how's that going to come into play?
My feeling is just like you'd be surprised, but I feel like it all comes out in the wash. I mean, if we really have such a titanic advantage in C1, then just make sure you win control the controllables. Like make sure you're winning your C1 games. Then if you are losing your C1 and 2 games, you need to recalibrate your strategy. You know, if those are a buy, essentially, you know, is what the data's saying. And then take some risks and punch up from C3 and 4. Go for it on 4th and 3 on your own 30. You know what I mean? Like, go for it. Like, really just keep some risky hands. Like, keep some really proactive hands. The IOC 4 the other night, I kept a 5 that was land, Elvish Spirit Guide, Tinder Wall, LED, Wheel of Fortune. It was sick. I was like, I'm gonna play a land. I'm gonna Simeon Spirit Guide for Tinder Wall. I'm gonna sack Tinder Wall for 3 red. I'm gonna tap my land. I'm gonna cast the LED. I'm gonna sack my Tinder Wall. I'm gonna tap my land. I'm gonna cast a Wheel of Fortune, a whole priority. I'm gonna make green. I drew 7 new cards, and I drew like a Mana Vault Dork. Got to play him. It was sick. I still lost to Rogside.
Rogside is like, ooh, wheel.
But that gave me a puncher's chance from a low seat. You know what I'm saying? It gave me a puncher's chance from a low seat.
So it's really interesting. We have pulled up Max P, like aggregated all of his league data for the month, and he's got 104 games. So it's like not nothing, and he's at 33% win rate first seat.
He's averaging 5 games a day.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
It's insane.
What does he do for? I want his job.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Apparently, what he does is punt from third seat.
Yeah, dude. So he's at roughly 33% from first, second, and fourth seat, and then 15% win rate from third seat.
Wow.
Which is weird.
That's cool, though.
But I think a lot of this
Cool to
was...
get the data.
What's that?
It's cool to look at the data.
Yeah, I think a lot of this was from when he switched from TNT to TNK. And I was really encouraging him. I was like, dude, you have to convert your games in like seat 3 and 4.
Absolutely.
You just have to.
You have to.
I think that's what we're going to see in tournaments too. I've been kind of, I know Tim, you and I have talked offline about this, and I've talked a little bit about this with the Critical EDH crew. But I think if we can imagine where we all, let's say we have a 10-round tournament, or 12-round tournament, right? You have an equal chance to be in every seat. You'll be in every single seat 3 times. If you're guaranteed to win rounds 1 and 2, but like everyone's kind of guaranteed to wins from seat 1 and 2. If everyone's kind of guaranteed to win, and like that's really what the case is, what's going to set you out apart from everyone else is your performances from 3rd and 4th seed.
Yeah, converting on your unwinnables, which we talk about. That is like the sideboarding thing, like being prepared, like pushing all your chips in on your worst matchups. You know, like you're like, if my good matchups are good, like I don't need to shore them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that winning those like from 4th seed, you have nothing to lose. If you're quote guaranteed to lose anyway, what does it matter? Just play the most proactive you can, put wins on the stack, and if you get stopped, oh well.
Puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was early feedback I got from you and Austin both, was like you just have to play more selfishly than you do right now. And that's still something I struggle with, of like accepting the fact that I'm here to win this game, and that's going to involve making choices that aren't best for the health of the table sometimes. And also, who necessarily even cares about the health of the table, especially from 3rd and 4th seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not thinking about you, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I do think that, you know, and Logan, that was really helpful. You know, like I think about, you know, when I'm thinking about, I always kind of try to use 60 card analogies, but when I know that like my worst matchup is like, let's say Storm, like I'm gonna bring in the Storm hate, you know what I mean? Or I'm really weak to like Graveyard Combo, like I'm gonna fucking throw the sink at it, you know? And I think you should have that same kind of like triage mentality for 3rd and 4th seat, you know, like okay, I want to build my deck where I have a mulligan plan for 3rd and 4th seat, where it's like, then that comes into the cards that are like high variance. Like that's like when I was talking about with you, like a card that seems kind of dumb to some people. Like you're playing like only like 15 artifacts, but you're thinking about putting like a Mishra's Workshop in your sideboard. I'm not saying to do that, but that kind of crazy outside the box thinking is what we're talking about.
We can use smaller examples like Gemstone. Like people are cutting Gemstone, and I'm like,
no chance.
What are you doing? Like you're on the off chance that you get it in seat 3 and 4. Like that's a chance for you to claw your way back.
Yeah, dude, you need that. That's sick. I agree. You know, and that's what we talked about. And something we lost with Dockside was like, it really was a way for the 3rd and 4th seed to like recoup some tempo. You know, they kind of lost. I think it's a shame.
You know what most decks are weak to?
What?
Losing on turn 3. Right? So like,
oh no, what was it that he's like, oh no, but he found my only weakness, bullets. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, other decks are weak to like win attempts, so why aren't you just putting more win attempts on the stack?
Yeah, like so many times we've been in these games with Dude where he's just like jamming Necro, and then he's got every time the card like looks like the choke point, like, all right, here's the J-Will, or like, oh, here's the Final Fortune, and we're like looking to the sorry to pick on TNT, we look at the TNT player with the fish, and they're like, nothing, sorry dude, yeah, it resolves, and we're just like, good God, like, fuck, dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
But then again, it's just like, is the way to overcorrect, and I'm like, I need to play every silence effect. I need to play deafening silence. I need to play Aether Sworn Channel, Aether Sworn Canvas. Like, this will never happen again. Or do I just like come up with a way for me to like skate by and then jam my own food chain? Is probably what I should be doing.
I think we're just supposed to make problems, like make more problems than people can solve. And
yeah, of course.
That's what I'm like really high on the decks with great or at least sustainable fail states for that reason. Like push as hard as you possibly can and still have a way to claw back out of it if you're in a hole.
Yeah.
And that's.
And then even if you don't, somehow you still win. Like I feel like Atali, playing Hard Guys Atali, even though people joke and say it's like something good to do, I don't think it's that good. We're like, oh, I'm just gonna like on 6 turns I'll just like chip away and like plow through the Drannith player. Like that's not a real plan. Yeah. But I do think though that the wrong side deck, like having so many being built with so many wheels and so many advantage engines, and even the RAL deck, it just has ways to like it seems it's like the jump scare in a horror film. Like don't let you think they're dead in the water. They're usually not.
I would rather go home, not doing well at the tournament, but saying like, well, I tried to win multiple times every game, and you know what, it didn't work out for me. I'd rather go home saying that than saying like, well, I played kind of like a coward because I didn't like find my window, or I got 4th seat too many times and I just like kept a safe hand. I don't want to go home feeling that. No, not from this tournament.
God no, dude, Em wouldn't let you come home like that. She'd beat your ass. She'd be like, you're sleeping out with the dog tonight, bro.
Yeah. I'm sleeping out with Tim's AirPods in the couch somewhere.
You're gonna be sleeping at Denny's with Jason. But I want to say, but like, and that's true. Like, I was leaving a game at Cookout, and I was talking to Evan Pierce, and I said, like, man, I punted. Like, I had my window and I jammed, and there was and the Magna player had twin shot sniper, and I just died. And he looked at me and he's like, dude, you didn't punt? He's like, that's like, you got blown out. Like that happens. And you were trying to win. Like you didn't punt. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I didn't punt, but I felt like a punt,
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that was. You're gonna win way more games with a like turn 2 Necro or Novs than you're gonna get blown out on with a turn 2 Necro or Novs.
Yeah,
you
sure.
Just send that. Yeah, you just have to send it, and sometimes they're gonna have the answer.
Sometimes you just gotta send it, bro.
All right, Tim, we got some stuff to finish up here.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Dude,
yeah,
thanks again. We'll have you on for real next time. Maybe we'll do some recording at Fishbowl.
Oh, dude, I'd love to. Yeah, hit me up at Fishbowl. I'll be there.
For sure. All right, we'll see you in a few days.
See you in a couple days, guys. Bye.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
Peace.
Wow. Yeah, I think Tim has always got really good insights.
Yeah.
He's such an interesting person to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, Rocco feels like a very good choice. I don't know if that's what he's playing this weekend or not.
It seems like it, but yeah, it's got that inevitability to it, and is able to put win attempts on, especially early with food chain. And
when it gets under a lot of stuff, it's why people are looking at like Pyre and all these other weird, just like, you can't interact with this. It's too late.
What do you think about all this like win rate stuff and like seed order and turn order disparity? Because I just have this feeling like we're still working on like putting the stats together from the leagues and stuff like that in all the games. We have 2,500 games to go through, and I know that Top Deck is working on API access and whatnot. But even just seeing like one of our most prolific players in that, like, he plays a lot of games, but also he's a really fucking good player.
Yeah.
But be open with his data like this. What do you think about all this?
I think that I hate when people say like, oh, skill issue, bro. But also there is a certain amount of sitting down at the table and seeing that you're 3rd or 4th seat and not giving a fuck that you're 3rd or 4th seat, and I'm going to win this game.
Right.
Or I'm going to play it to every single way I possibly can to win this game. And I think that, like, I expect that Max is an individual who does that, and we see a 33% win rate from 4th seat. And like, I actually think that you get away with a lot more in third and fourth seed.
I commented on Twitter. I was like, dude, fourth seed is so sick. I've never had my Nas countered. I've never had Necro countered, and it's not because they didn't want to. It's just because like, by the time that it happens, like, you know, the game has gone around at least maybe one turn cycle or two, and then somebody else is trying to do their proactive game plan, and then they get stopped, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of sitting here, you know. My window's open.
Yeah, it's a give and a take, and I do think there's problems with seat disparity. Like the data that Bad Dog posted from the Invitational was really interesting. I think fourth seat had like a 4% win rate.
Yeah, but it's like the Invitational, and I'd rather see the data from the Open.
Same, I agree.
Yeah.
And that was one of my main things. Like you can't see out of that sample size, like at the NV, how many people got third or fourth seat, sat down and said, I'm playing for a draw, because they didn't want to lose.
Well, we know that happened a lot because there were so many draws. Do you think there should be a disparity between seed order?
It's a really interesting take. I think it's the conversation we were just having with Tim, right? It's like, if you, hypothetically, if it's really that different, should win every game from first and second seed, the difference comes when in the games that you win third and fourth seed. And if
Right, but I mean, from a game systems perspective, do you think there should be a disparity between first and fourth?
In the framing of a tournament, I do, because I think that if you're chronically in first and second seed, there's probably a reason that's happening.
Well, the way that Top Deck pairs is that you should. I know that people are going to complain, oh, I always get fourth seed in tournament. Yeah, okay, I don't believe you. But ideally, the system tries to pair you in pods so that you're a relatively even distribution across your games around the table, right? So, like for me, it happened so that I was in 4 rounds of Swiss. I was first, and then I was fourth, and then I was first, and then I was fourth.
Yeah.
And that happens, right? But ideally, you have some sort of mix or variety. Yeah. I personally think that there should be a disparity between going first and going fourth. Yeah. What that percentage is, I think that's up for argument. Sure. Fourth probably should have some sort of disadvantage to it. Yeah. I don't think it should have any kind of, let's say, like catch-up effect or anything like that. I don't like some people have suggested like a gold token or like they get the scry or something. Like I don't think so. Like
no, that was going to be my next question. With that is like, is a gemstone-like effect the answer? Like, is more stuff that says, hey, if you're not in first seat, you get this thing, but it's just one of your 100 cards?
Problem is that those are also buffing second and third seat, like gemstone specifically is.
For sure. I mean, also,
second seat with a gemstone. Oh my God, you feel like
it's the best thing in the world. It's insane.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I don't know what the answer is to all this, but I do think that turn order disparity is something we should watch closely. Mm-hmm. And if you are being stuck in third or fourth seat, don't just roll over and take the L. Like, fight your way out of it.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is the correct take or not, but if I sit down in third and fourth seat, like, I would rather mulligan to 2 and die than keep a very safe hand if I believe that I'm dead anyway. Yeah. Like, play as proactively as I can, look for the best outs that I have, and just see what happens. And like it's going to be what it's going to be.
All right. We have a couple more tabs to go through, just real quickly as we finish this episode. We had some interesting discussions on Twitter. Go ahead and this was a funny copy paste. I think someone was unironically complaining about tutors in casual, and I think that was just really funny. I was like, Imp Seal in the play. I'm like, I shouldn't be able to look at my whole deck and all. It's just, I don't know. The whole thing's funny. You should go read it. It's really stupid.
I found this very amusing.
I think someone commented, "Oh, I found the perfect tattoo to connect my upper back tat to my lower back tat." That was really cool. We got some fresh Dude loot in, and this is actually, as much as we've been advertising for Dude, and he's just been a friend of the channel. This is the first time I've actually ordered from him, and let me tell you, the experience is just fantastic, top to bottom.
Yeah, I have some very shiny stuff on the way right now.
Oh no! Is it gonna make it in time for Fishbowl?
No.
Oh, dang.
But he did. One, he found a Japanese promo sees the spotlight for me.
Oh, sweet.
Which is like, I'm going to cast that card and people are going to be like, what on God's green earth is this abomination? But the biggest thing was a confetti foil Japanese Necro.
Wow.
Which was like...
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, I mean, everything came packaged like, I mean, this really puts TCG Player to the shame. It's 2 pieces of cardboard, 2 hard sleeves, and then in those were the cards and the tokens and in a bubble mailer and like the whole thing. I'm like, I understand the whole experience. It's very cool.
And dude, the treasure tokens too are insane. They're so nice.
Yeah, they are. But if you want to see some of that, we'll have some of the treasure tokens and obviously some of the cards at Fishbowl. But we highly recommend you just check out Dude's inventory. You can go to discord.gg/dudeloot.
Yeah, I also plug for the his like it's called like Loot Lord or something, whatever his like premium tier is.
Oh yeah. It's a subscription where you get some benefits.
Yeah, I've been on that for 3 months, and the hot list thing where you can ask him to find any card in the world, and like he might not find it, but he probably will
eventually.
Eventually,
Right.
And like it's really, really cool that whatever you can dream up or think of to have a way to track it down.
Sweet. All right. Just a couple more here. This has gotten way more traction than I thought it would. There's all this conversation about the bracket system and bannings and stuff, and I like to poke fun at people on Twitter, but if you meet me in person, I promise you I'm not going to make fun of you in person. Twitter is just a cesspool, and I think that it's a good place to rage bait people.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that like cEDH players on this side over here, we don't want Ristic and Thoracle banned. We want more powerful cards in our format. And then people that don't play cEDH but are maybe on this side are like, I don't know, powerful cards fun. And then everywhere in the middle where people think that they know best for the format and they're not playing cEDH, but they think they know something. They're like, oh, these powerful cards are ruining my format.
I mean, dude, it's like to have you and Tim on the phone right now, as Tim's what, like 25th or something, and you're at 13th or whatever 18th. It is now. For both of you to be like, Ristic's fine, but it's not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like these are not the problems, if there even are problems, and I don't think banning cards or partners or like none of that's the answer that people are looking for.
I will remind people that Ristic enables long stack battles, which is something that many players like. I personally do like that play pattern, and where I can have answers and continue to refill my hand and try to generate mana in different ways and things with like Smothering Tithe or just just using my mana efficiently and drawing more cards and stuff like that. Those things cannot happen without Ristic, and there's other decks that are hurt by not having that really powerful card in the deck, like let's say Rocco. I think Rocco would probably run Ristic if it could.
Yeah, for sure.
But it can't, so like it has to attack things on a different axis. And usually that means going fast. And if Ristic is not good enough to stop the decks that are going fast right now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't run it, but that means it's not really the Ristic meta that we were in months ago.
Agreed, and like also I think that whole middle section of the graph is like, I think people do look at cEDH as turn order simulator to who draws Thassa's the fastest, which is just not, it's categorically untrue.
I can't, but yes, I play Thassa's in my deck.
Yeah.
But I think someone very eloquently put it as Thassa's is a period to a very long sentence.
Yes.
It is the ending to a, like, here's how I got there.
Yep.
Occasionally you will run into I just have natural Thassa on turn 2, or I reverse Thassa's Oracle. But even doing that's hard. You have to be like, oh, I'm casting Tainted Pact. And they're like, what are you Tainted Pacting for? You're like, I don't know. Yeah, here's my entire library, and then God help me, hopefully they don't have a way to make me draw a card or whatever. There's so many different things that can happen and so many interesting interactions around Thassa and Tainted Pact and Demonic Consultation. It's just not a problem.
It's not a problem, and if people's misconception about the format is turn order simulator to do this thing, if you want to guarantee that happens, get rid of things like Ristic Study that make it that Turbo can just do whatever it wants whenever it wants.
Yeah, why would I care if I'm seat 1 and there's no risk extending the format, then I have a turn 2 necro.
Yeah.
What am I worried about?
2 cards out of 100.
Maybe a fish.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a fish, but like, yeah, if there's no chance for my opponents in seats 2, 3, and 4 to have a turn 2 Ristic, then okay, like our format becomes even more degenerate than it already is.
Yep.
I think like we're already pushing the boundaries of what we're doing.